Hey everyone, and welcome to a deep dive exploring minimalism.
Oh, I love this topic.
Me too. Both physical and digital. I know
Mhm.
a lot of you out there listening, you're probably feeling overwhelmed by all your stuff and like constantly bombarded with digital distractions.
It's true. Like, we're all looking for ways to just simplify life a bit, reclaim our time and attention.
Right, exactly. And we've got some awesome sources to help with that.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, we found 3 really cool YouTube videos that all kind of take their own spin on minimalist living.
Okay, awesome.
So we're going to be breaking down the most impactful rules and strategies from these videos and hopefully giving you guys some practical takeaways.
Sounds great. Let's dive in.
All right, so first up we have Gabe Bolt.
Okay.
And he kind of kicks things off with this really thought-provoking question.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he asks, like, if your house burned down and you lost most of your possessions, would you feel relieved or devastated?
Wow, that's a powerful question.
Um,
I've never really thought about it that way.
yeah, it kind of makes you think about, like, what's really important, right?
Definitely, it forces you to examine, your relationship with all your stuff.
Yeah, and whether your possessions are actually serving you or are you, like, serving them.
Right. Are they adding value to your life, or are they just like a burden, like weighing you down?
And Bolt argues that for a lot of us, our stuff actually owns us.
I think he's right there.
Yeah, it takes up space not just in our homes, but in our minds, too.
Absolutely.
Creates
Yeah.
all this, like, mental clutter that can be honestly super draining.
I know what you mean. I definitely feel that sometimes.
Yeah, so to combat that clutter, Bolt offers a bunch of practical decluttering rules, and I thought some of them were really clever.
Oh, yeah. Like what?
So one of them is called the 20-20 rule. Have you heard of this one?
I don't think so.
Okay, so basically, if you can replace an item for under $20 and in under 20 minutes, then you should probably let it go.
Oh, that's a good one.
Right. It's simple, but like it just makes you question whether it's really worth holding on to.
Yeah, I like that. It's like a quick litmus test.
And, it really resonated with me because it addresses that fear we all have of, what if I need it someday?
Oh, totally. I'm so guilty of that.
Right. And I think it also ties into the sunk cost fallacy. We tend to like overvalue things we've already invested in, even if they're not really serving us anymore.
That's so true.
So yeah, I thought the 20-20 rule was really helpful.
Yeah, definitely worth trying.
Okay, so another one of Bolt's decluttering strategies is the box rule.
Okay, the box rule. That's a new one.
Yeah, so this is like a little self-experiment. I don't know if you've ever tried this.
Tell me about it.
You basically pack away the things you're unsure about letting go of,
Okay.
and then you see if you even remember them after a few months.
Oh, that's interesting. I like that.
It takes the pressure off of making like immediate decisions.
Right, because sometimes you just can't decide.
Exactly, and it often reveals like how much we hold on to stuff unnecessarily.
I can definitely see that happening.
Like if you haven't thought about it for 3 months, do you really need it?
Probably not.
So yeah, the box rule's pretty genius, I think.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to try that one.
Okay, so moving on. Bolt's approach to minimalism isn't just about like physical decluttering. It's also about cultivating good habits.
Makes sense.
He has this really interesting rule called the 2-day rule.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of that one.
Okay, so tell me what you know about it.
Well, I think it's like you never miss a new habit 2 days in a row, right?
You got it.
Yeah.
So what do you think the reasoning behind that is?
I think it's all about like building momentum, like not letting small slip-ups derail your progress.
That's exactly it. The research on habit formation shows that consistency is key.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
So it's more effective to do a little bit every day than to try and like cram it all in once a week.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Like little by little is more sustainable.
But what about those times when like motivation wanes, and you end up missing more than 2 days?
Oh, yeah, that happens to the best of us.
What do you do then? How do you get back on track?
Well, I think that's where self-compassion comes in, like don't beat yourself up over setbacks.
Good point.
Just acknowledge them, learn from them, and recommit to your habit as soon as possible.
I like that.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's not about being perfect. It's about progress.
exactly. And there are some cool strategies you can use to make it easier to get back on track.
Like what?
Well, have you ever heard of habit stacking?
I have heard of that.
So it's basically attaching your new habit to an existing one to make it easier to remember.
Yeah, like if you always brush your teeth in the morning, maybe you could do like a quick meditation right after.
Exactly. It's like using your existing routine as a trigger for the new habit.
That's a really good tip.
There's also something called temptation bundling, which is kind of fun.
Ooh, I like the sound of that.
So you pair something you enjoy with something you need to do, but maybe you don't always feel like doing.
Oh, I get it.
Yeah.
So like listening to your favorite podcast while you go for a run?
Exactly. It makes the task more enjoyable, so you're more likely to stick with it.
Okay, cool. So back to Bolt. He also has this really interesting rule called the investing rule.
The investing rule, huh? I don't think I know this one.
All right, so it's pretty simple. He basically suggests that we prioritize experiences over possessions.
I love that.
Me too.
Yeah,
I think it makes a lot of sense.
it aligns with like all this research on happiness,
Oh, yeah. How so?
Well, studies have shown that like material purchases, they tend to provide a very fleeting sense of pleasure,
Yeah, that's true.
but experiences, they create lasting memories.
They do, and they have a much more profound impact on our well-being.
Exactly. So it's about investing in things that truly enrich your life rather than things that just take up space in your house.
I couldn't agree more.
It's about collecting memories, not stuff.
I love that.
Yeah.
And Bolt encourages us to like create a home for everything we own.
Okay, so everything has a designated spot.
Exactly. And this kind of links to the idea of mindfulness being present in your environment, you know?
Oh, yeah, I see that. It makes sense.
Having a designated place for everything eliminates the stress of searching for things.
Oh, totally. I spend way too much time looking for my keys.
Right, me too. And it creates a sense of calm and order.
And like, if your physical environment is cluttered, it can actually contribute to mental clutter as well, right?
Totally. Like outer order can lead to inner calm.
Makes sense.
And then there's Bolt's other people rule.
The other people rule.
Yeah, so this one reminds us that we often buy things for status or validation, not because we genuinely need or want them.
It's so true, like keeping up with the Joneses.
Exactly. And social media definitely doesn't help with that.
No, it makes it so much worse.
Right. It's so easy to get caught in the comparison trap, like everyone else's life looks so perfect online.
It's all curated, though.
Exactly. It's this highlight reel,
Yeah.
and we feel this pressure to keep up appearances.
Which often leads to like unnecessary purchases and clutter.
Totally. And Bolt's 90 rule is an interesting way to combat that.
And a 90 rule? What's that?
So only buy things you absolutely love.
Like a 90 out of 100 on the desire scale.
Exactly.
Okay, I like that.
And then also only commit to activities you're 90% enthusiastic about.
It's about prioritizing.
Yeah, like saying no to the things that drain you and yes to the things that light you up.
Totally. It's a
Yeah.
way of focusing your energy on what truly matters.
It's a form of essentialism, you
Yeah.
know, both with your possessions and your time.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
And then on a more micro level, Bolt's a big advocate for the 2-minute rule.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of that one.
So tell me what you know.
Well, I think it's if a task takes less than 2 minutes, you just do it right away
Yep, that's it.
instead of adding it to your to-do list.
Right. And it's a great way to prevent those small tasks from piling up and creating overwhelm.
Yeah, because those little things can really add up.
Plus, each completed task, no matter how small, it gives you this sense of accomplishment.
I like that feeling of checking things off my list.
It's about building momentum, feeling in control of your to-do list.
Makes sense.
Okay. So last but not least, Bolt recommends a nightly reset.
Okay, a nightly reset. What does that involve?
So it's basically like taking a few minutes each evening to prepare for the next day, you know,
Okay,
like tidying up, laying out your clothes, setting yourself up for success.
I see. So you start the day feeling organized and less stressed.
Exactly. And evening routines are incredibly valuable.
Yeah, they can help with sleep, too.
They definitely can reduce stress, improve sleep quality.
It's like giving your brain a signal that it's time to wind down.
It's about ending your day with a sense of closure and preparing for a smooth start to the next one.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
So yeah, those are some of the key takeaways from Gabe Bolt.
Awesome stuff. I'm already feeling inspired to declutter.
Me too. But now let's move on to the digital realm, because that's a whole other beast.
All right, let's do it.
All right, so we've tackled physical clutter, thanks to those strategies from Gabe Bolt.
Yeah, those are great.
But now what about our digital lives, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like our inboxes are overflowing. We have endless notifications all the time.
Mm-hmm.
It's like this constant feeling of being tethered to our devices. It's a different kind of clutter,
It is.
but just as overwhelming, honestly.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, totally. And that's where this idea of digital minimalism comes in.
Oh, yeah.
And luckily, we've got some great insights from Productivity Guy and Snap summaries on this topic.
Perfect.
They both draw on the work of Cal Newport.
Oh, Cal Newport.
Have you heard of him?
Yeah, he's written a lot about focus and deep work.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
But how does that, relate to minimalism?
So Newport argues that modern technology has kind of shifted from being a tool to being a time waster.
Okay, interesting.
often even an addiction.
Wow.
Yeah. So digital minimalism is about reclaiming that control
Okay.
and using technology intentionally in a way that actually aligns with your values and your goals.
Okay, so it's not about like swearing off technology altogether.
No, no, not at all.
Okay, good, because that sounds a little extreme for most people.
Yeah, it's not about going off the grid or anything.
Mm.
It's just about being more mindful and selective about the technology that you allow into your life.
I like that.
And Productivity Guy, he does a great job of summarizing Newport's approach.
Okay, good.
He really emphasizes that digital minimalism is about focusing on the technology that truly adds value to your life
Okay.
and minimizing all the rest.
So it's not just about like turning off notifications or doing a digital detox for a couple days.
Right.
It's a more fundamental shift in how we think about and use technology.
Exactly. It's about asking yourself, like, does this technology serve me or am I serving it?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Right.
Okay, so I like that framework, but how do you actually put these principles into practice?
Okay, good question.
Where do you even begin?
Well, Newport, he recommends a 30-day digital declutter challenge as like a starting point.
A 30-day?
Yeah, so you basically take a break from all non-essential technology for a whole month.
A whole month. I'm already feeling anxious just thinking about it.
I know it sounds kind of daunting.
Yeah, it does.
It's really powerful for resetting your relationship with technology.
Okay, so what's the purpose of like such a drastic measure?
It's about breaking those patterns of habitual use
Okay.
and just giving yourself some space to rediscover what you truly value.
Interesting.
During that declutter, you might realize that you don't miss certain technologies as much as you thought you would,
Oh, interesting.
while others you genuinely miss because they add real value to your life.
So then what happens after the 30 days?
So after the 30 days are up, you reintroduce technology selectively,
Okay.
but only the things that support your values and your goals.
Okay, so you're kind of curating your digital life
Exactly.
and doing it with intention.
Yes, asking yourself with each technology, does this add value to my life? Does it support my goals?
I like that. It's not about deprivation.
Right.
It's about making conscious choices.
Exactly.
And I imagine this applies especially to social media, right?
Oh, absolutely.
That could be a huge source of digital clutter and distraction.
Yes.
Like, I feel like I'm constantly getting sucked in.
Right. And both Productivity Guy and Great Mind, they highlight the research on social media's negative impact on well-being.
Yeah, it makes sense.
It's so easy to get caught in the comparison trap.
Totally.
You see everyone else's carefully curated online personas.
That's just the highlight reel.
It is.
Yeah.
And you start feeling inadequate.
Plus, it's like that constant stream of notification.
It's addictive.
The addictive nature of scrolling, it's really hard to break free.
It is.
And that's where Newport's emphasis on solitude and deep work comes in.
Oh, yes.
I love that concept of deep work.
He talks about it a lot in his writing.
Yeah.
He defines it as professional activities performed in a state of distraction-free concentration that push your cognitive capabilities to their limit.
Wow, that's a mouthful.
Right.
Okay, so it's about focusing on those cognitively demanding tasks that require sustained attention and effort.
Yes, and these efforts, they create new value, they improve your skill, and they're hard to replicate.
Okay, so how does that relate to digital minimalism?
Well, digital minimalism helps create the space for deep work
Okay.
by minimizing distractions and being intentional about your technology use.
Okay,
You free up your time and attention for the activities that truly matter.
I see. So it's not just about being more productive.
Right.
It's about creating a life that's more fulfilling and aligned with your values.
Exactly.
And Great Mind makes a really great point about attention being this precious resource that we need to protect.
It is. The more we allow ourselves to be distracted, the harder it becomes to focus and engage in deep work.
Yeah, it's like our attention is a muscle that we need to train,
I love that analogy.
right? And digital minimalism can be seen as a set of practices for strengthening that attention muscle.
Yes.
It's about reclaiming control over our attention and directing it toward what truly matters.
That's such an empowering way to think about it.
Right. It's not about deprivation.
No.
It's about freedom.
It is.
The freedom from distraction, the freedom to focus, the freedom to create.
And ultimately, freedom to live a more meaningful and fulfilling life.
That's beautiful. It really seems like minimalism, whether we're talking like physical stuff or digital stuff, it's about being intentional, like with our resources, our time, energy, attention.
Yeah, absolutely. It's about making space for the things that truly matter to us.
Exactly. And it's not about like being perfect or living with nothing, right?
No, not at all. A journey of figuring out what brings you joy, what you really value, and then building a life around those things.
And it's a journey you can start today, you know? Like, even small changes can make a big difference. Remember those tips from Gabe Bolt, like the 20/20 rule?
Oh, yeah, that was a good one.
You could try that next time you're decluttering. Or what about the box rule? That sneaky little trick.
Oh, yeah, I'm definitely going to try that one.
Right. It's so clever. And those habits, like that 2-day rule, don't underestimate that.
Oh, it's so important to be consistent. Even if you slip up, don't beat yourself up about it. Just get back on track.
It's exactly. Progress, not perfection. And what about that idea of shifting your focus from like stuff to experiences?
Yeah.
That investing rule really resonated with me.
Yeah, it's about investing in the things that enrich your life, that create those lasting memories.
Absolutely. And don't forget about those little things too, like making sure everything has a designated spot.
Oh, yeah, having a home for all your things, that can bring so much peace of mind.
It really can. And when it comes to that digital side of things, those principles we talked about, like clutter is costly, optimize, be intentional, so helpful.
Right, those can really change how we view technology.
Maybe that 30-day digital declutter is something you want to try. Or even just like being more aware of how social media makes you feel.
Yeah, noticing how it affects your attention, your mood. It's about taking control.
And I think that's what minimalism really is, right? It's about creating a life that feels spacious and intentional, both in our physical spaces and in our digital lives.
Yeah. And it's about freedom.
Freedom from
The
distractions.
freedom to focus.
The freedom to create.
And ultimately, the freedom to live a life that is meaningful and fulfilling.
Couldn't have said it better myself. So as we wrap up here, I want to leave you all with something to think about.
Okay, I'm listening.
What is one area of your life? It can be physical, it can be digital, where you can start simplifying, like today. What can you let go of right now to make more space for what really matters?
What will you choose?
It's not about what you're giving up.
It's about what you're gaining.
Space, the clarity, the freedom, it's all waiting for you.
So thank you all for joining us on this deep dive into minimalism.
We hope you found some inspiration here today, some things you could take and apply to your own life.
Even small steps can make a big difference.
So until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deep.
Bye, everyone.